My name's Lisa Giddings, and I'd like to talk to you about a Christian theoretical foundation in the advanced practice nurse. Why care? Christians are to be a beacon of light to lead others to the Lord. Colossians 3, 1 through 17 tells us that as Christians, we are set apart and expected to be in control of our earthly nature. Our earthly nature is not necessarily to care, but to do what we believe will make us happy, and those things often equate with idolatry, greed, impurity, lust, and evil desires. Our job is to be a living example of God's genuine love and care, which He has shown to us. As advanced practice nurses, we want to heal the sick whenever possible and bring comfort when it is not possible. That is our Christ-like example to share through caring. What does it mean to care in relationship? The Lord created us to all be different, but commands us to love one another as He has also loved us. We must provide the support and care that meets the needs of the patient. Understanding their needs within the framework of their culture, whether that culture be religious, ethnic, a culture of choice, homelessness, addiction, whatever their situation is, we must view their needs through their eyes, an outward display of inward devotion to a relationship with another. Our efforts to connect and show concern, even though the physical body may be beyond repair, nourishes the souls of others and allows us an opportunity to share God's love through humility and our shared likeness. We are taught that peace and harmony are created through genuine relationship with God, self, others, and natures. This is the true essence of health and well-being. Jesus led by example, but more importantly, He asked that we do as He did so that others might know Him fully. Why must nurses care for patients in both the seen and unseen environments? The seen environment encompasses all that can be felt through our senses. The environment not seen involves spiritual, or environments that do not have consistent evidence of its existence, but acknowledged by mental awareness. God resides in the unseen environment and communicates to us not only through His Word, but through thoughts and feelings. It is His communication to Christians that makes us a good fit for healthcare and caring for others. The unseen world also contains Satan and his influences. While he was once a powerful angel in heaven, his sin cost him a place with the Lord, and now he lives among us in the unseen environment and spreads deception to the world in the form of greed, lust, slothfulness, lack of hospitality, all of which impede spiritual health and wellness. Christ uses us, as Christians, as salt and light to the world. Salt to slow down the process of rotting, and light reveals problem areas and areas that need change. Why do we need shalom amidst suffering? Healthcare can be defined in many ways: a continuum, an absence of illness or disease, and that all depends on the context or the environment. Shalom in the Hebrew language means peace. Peace is defined in simplest terms as unity or balance. In healthcare, many theorists consider health a balance of the systems, or between internal and external factors such as Newman, conserving energies that create reserve or balance of need, Levine, or simply a relationship with the environment and its proper maintenance or balance, and that would be Nightingale. Essentially, all nurse theorists have a common thread of balance, creating peace or shalom. Suffering is not always caused by sickness or poor health. It's most frequently caused by unpleasantness or a sense of impending doom, demise, or level of risk. This can be seen as a state of imbalance or a lack of unity. Walter Storff describes shalom as the human being dwelling at peace in all his and her relationships with God, self, fellows, and nature. This can be generalized from the health of the individual to mean health from a broader perspective, encompassing an organization, a community, and the world. The world needs health and healing for many reasons. The most significant reason is the departure or absence of the Lord from lives and circumstances. Without Him, it's impossible to achieve unity, structure, and balance that provides health and wellness. 2 Peter chapter 3 refers to Christians' lack of patience, which can incite behavior that causes imbalance. It's easy to get intertwined with non-believers or those that cast doubt. This can lead Christians to despair or imbalance. In verse 17, Christians are told to take care that you're not carried away with the error of lawless people and lose your own stability, for shalom is found in balance. Several characteristics of Christian nursing stand out in the scriptures. Nursing is a response to God's grace that flows from a dynamic personal relationship with God. It's a ministry of the church and functions in the context of the body of Christ. It recognizes the role of sin in the world, and it seeks to restore justice and righteousness. It views the person as created in the image of God. It works toward the goal of shalom as ultimate health. It is demonstrated in compassionate care that is characterized by the fruit of the Spirit. These characteristics will help us both define nursing and to shape the future of nursing practice. Why care for the homeless? Christ cared for the homeless, and we are expected to do that as well. This book has helped me to see the path of his footsteps using the Bible to identify guiding principles. Caring for the homeless is an area of interest for me, and I would like to share with you my thoughts on caring for them. Leviticus 25:35-36 tells us, "If your brother becomes poor and cannot maintain himself, you shall support him, as though he were a stranger and a sojourner, and he shall live with you. Take no interest from him or profit, but fear your God, that your brother may live beside you." Psalms 82:3 tells us, "Give justice to the weak and maintain the rights of the afflicted and the destitute." Some may question whether or not homelessness qualifies as a cultural entity, yet this is not the question we need to ask ourselves. Homeless people have varying reasons for finding themselves without shelter. We're instructed through the scriptures to care for them by devoting ourselves to a relationship of understanding, concern, and connection. More than 30% of homeless people suffer mental health issues, some of which happen before, but some of which happen during the situation of homelessness. This might be due to fear, shortage of food and clothing, chronic or sporadic exposure to the elements. Providing shalom and giving of our earthly goods is what the Lord expects of us as Christian nurse practitioners. Proverbs 21:13 tells us that whoever closes his ear to the cry of the poor will himself call out and not be answered. I'd like to share with you an example of one man's theoretical perspective put into action. One day I was going to visit my eye doctor. On the way down there, I noticed this elderly man, homeless man, with a duct tape jug that he probably pulled out of the garbage somewhere. It had a handle fashioned on it made out of duct tape. It was about 18 inches high and about 10 inches wide. His hair was all matted with dirt and leaves. He wore glasses frames that were slightly bent, had no lens in them, that gave him kind of a frightening look. It made me fearful and suspicious. So as I'm walking into the doctor's office, I clung to the wall of the building, moving as quickly as possible. Just as I was almost there, I heard this man's feet beside me, so I grabbed my phone, ready to dial 911. At that second, he darted around me, threw open the door to the doctor's office. He held the door for me, and then he followed me in. He was kind of anxious, which made me fearful that I had made a mistake by going in the door at all. But just then, the woman behind the desk greeted him like her best friend and gave him a big hug. She said, "Oh, Bob, wait right here. I know Dr. Koza wants to see you." And he responded to her by telling her that he had a gift for the doctor for his birthday. I thought, how strange. This man clearly has nothing, but he brought a gift for the doctor. Dr. Koza then entered the room and lit it up with a big booming welcome and another hug for Bob. Bob then carefully pulled a wrinkled and filthy piece of paper from his pants pocket. On the piece of paper were a few childlike scribbles and drawings that I could see, but Bob put his duct tape jug on the floor and used it as a stool. As Bob sat on the stool and listened intently, the doctor began to read the letter eloquently. He said, "Dear Dr. Koza, I hope this is your best birthday ever, filled with love and laughter, and I hope that you will know that I am thinking about you and wishing you all good things come your way, just as the Lord has brought good things my way." Dr. Koza looked at Bob and told him sincerely that this was the best birthday present he'd ever been given. He then told Bob that he had word that Bob's new glasses would be in later this afternoon. I was puzzled. How could this man afford glasses? After Bob had gone and the room returned to a typical workplace, I asked the receptionist to tell me this story. Dr. Koza had actually seen Bob on the street one day, trying to hand every person that walked by him a bunch of flowers that had clearly been taken from a dumpster. As strangers skirted Bob and crossed the street to get away from him, Bob was undeterred. The only thing he wanted was to make a connection and have a positive impact on someone else's life. Dr. Koza intentionally crossed the street to meet Bob when he realized he had glasses on with no lenses in them. He accepted the flowers, fussed over them, and took Bob into his office, found a vase for the flowers, and carefully put them on the entryway. Then he asked Bob if he would like an exam. Bob laughed and told him that he had no money and he had never had lenses in his frame. Dr. Koza told him to come back, have an exam, and he would worry about the details. He's taken care of Bob ever since then. That was about 10 years ago. Dr. Koza was able to talk to Catholic Charities, Hope House, and a few eyewear companies and put together a program that provided glasses for homeless people. This was an example to me and anyone else fortunate enough to witness it of an outward display of an inward change made by Christ in Dr. Koza's life. His theoretical foundation gave him the guiding principles of caring, which in turn led him to organize his charitable actions. Can you imagine the impact we, as nurse practitioners, could have on the world just by following this example? Thank you.